Hello, it's the Fuad United in partnership with Erdinger. As a man who spent the last 2 days in Erdinger, I've chose to go for the isotonic non-alcoholic version. I've had lots of them over the last couple of days. A nice one to the good people of Erdinger of looking after me a little bit too well, to be honest with you, Phil.
Really?
They were too hospitable.
They were too hospitable to you. Wow.
I know. That's
what
really
exactly did you do?
Just drank
Right,
solidly.
okay,
ate really well. I had all the hit schnitzel.
Schnitzel, Jaffa pretzel.
Yeah, and I had currywurst.
You said the pretzel was the last thing you needed to tick off, isn't it?
Pretzel.
Apple strudel.
Strudel, apple strudel. It was lovely. In a big tent.
I got ripped for having one of them when we played Bayern. Like I was just having, we were in a beer house and I just went, fucking have an apple strudel. So I had one, and I got relentlessly ripped for eating a dessert.
People are
like you're not allowed desserts on your own ways.
Yeah, you're not allowed nice things.
No.
Well, yeah, it was brilliant, and it was nice to get away for a couple of days. But we are back amongst it. It is the busiest day of the year, it seems. We're going to talk a little bit about Salah. We're going to talk a little bit about Gravenberch. But first of all, European draw today. We happy? I think you're going to be happy. Josh, he doesn't have to travel too far.
Yeah, it looks like a comfortable one, doesn't it? Austria, Belgium and France, I think. So, yeah, some nice easy trips, not going too far. Should be picking up a few wins there as well. And the return of Damien Comoli as well. Club president's at Toulouse now, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll roll off the red carpet when he comes.
Yeah, well, they're owned by the Redbird thing.
Right.
Obviously, they own some of FSG, so it's all the data-driven stuff, innit?
Yeah.
Comoli's in charge there now, so...
Good on him.
I'm sure he'll take credit for getting him there as well.
He's one of the best blaggers of his generation, Phil, and there's plenty of them about, so fair play to them. I don't know if you went to Toulouse back in 2007.
I didn't.
No,
I was in uni at the time, so it was...
Times were hard.
Yeah, it was more. I think I went to 3 group games, so it wasn't necessarily that. I just saved the money for the meaningful games. Fair enough. Assumed that we'd beat them. I remember Voronin scored an absolute belter, and everyone thought he was great, and he wasn't.
Well, that was the period where we got to 2 finals in 3 years, it was like that feeling of, we'll get to another quarter-final, semi-final at least. So
we got the semis as well, didn't we? That was Chelsea. It was the extra time away at Chelsea second leg that year, wasn't it?
Get a bit confused.
Yeah. They all blend into one, don't they?
Are you feeling good about the draw from a point of view of someone who I presume this time will go to 1 or 2?
Yeah, I think I'll go to all 3, to be honest.
Love it, don't you, lad?
I've not been on holiday this year, so I've been saving the time off work and that up. And like, there's part of me, it's like that one's party. There was like, I would have liked Cyprus. I could have done a nice little 4-night diddle in Cyprus and we'd do all that nice time. Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of talk of Iron Apple on the way to Newcastle on Saturday. Particularly on that bus. There was a lot of chat about it, but it's football wise, it's good. The thing about the Europa League group stage is that winning the group is really important because it means you get a round fewer. Like you go,
right?
Yeah. So the second team goes into the last 32 effectively,
yeah.
And the winner goes last 16. So if you come second, you play a Champions League drop out.
Nice.
If you win the group, you play one of those in the round after. So you get a round 3 basically.
How we have Phil here?
I know. I have absolutely no idea.
Let's get our job. I'm like, is it? Yeah, Phil. Text it if you remember.
But Man United had to play Barcelona last season while Arsenal got a bit of time off.
I mean, I don't. I remember them playing.
Yeah, we've got to be better at pretending we knew all along.
I'm tired of that, to be honest with you. I don't even try and blag it anymore. I'm here for vibes.
Do that, you nail it till we
Yeah, exactly. Your knowledge, go elsewhere. I mean, stay with the Anfield Wrap, but watch other shows. Or just listen to Phil, and zone out when I'm talking, which is fine as well. I mean, as a man who wouldn't be averse to Iron Apple away, but was having to make do. You like a Christmas market as well?
I do like a Christmas market. I had shades of Salzburg coming back.
I was going to say, do you remember your Salzburg story? Really funny.
I do, mate. Yeah, I do, mate. I do remember that. We were talking about that in the office earlier, and I'm back into it again. I'm back into reliving some of those days. Maybe not all of the things, but definitely some of it.
No.
And I think that like what Phil was saying, football-wise, they're great sort of teams to have. Also, there's that unknown element as well, which is a bit of fun in this competition. Look, I'm still in the place where it's been a bit hard to sort of, you're watching the draw and you're hearing the Europa League music and you're a bit like, remember when we were in the other one and how there were all these other teams, and then you know, I think afterwards you do lose that, don't you? Once you see the teams and you start thinking about the trips, and you start all talking together about how you're going to get there and all that. So yeah, I'm excited now. I am excited.
It is a winnable group though, Josh. I don't know if you've heard, but if you win the group, you play one less game. So not a lot of people know that, but it's my job to learn these things, and so that's it. But like, also as well, you'll want to rotate Moni in these, and so if you're looking at the opposition and thinking, actually I can make 4 or 5 changes and still be much stronger, that's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, and you know, I think we'll be able to rotate and still win the group ideally, which is, you know, bringing in the likes of Harvey Elliott and Basetic and you know, even Kwanzaa and players like that, getting games, getting minutes and stuff like that in Europe as well. You know, it's nice for them to get that experience. So yeah, I think we'll be able to basically play the second strings, but also pick up enough points to top the group and skip a match like Phil told us.
Wait, whoa. But, I mean, Toulouse is on the agenda, but will we lose Mo Salah? Is Mo Salah to lose or not to lose? That is he going to lose or we?
I think he'll go to lose. He's going to Toulouse, or are we going to lose Mo Salah?
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. We got that in the end, didn't we? It feels just to me like Liverpool are saying no, and what it feels like also is going to happen is they're just going to keep coming back with money until either we say yes or the window closes. So, I mean, there might well be a number. I almost think that the only way you sell him is if he goes, look, I'm going, I don't want to stay, I want to go. Otherwise, you fight to keep him, because the whole thing for me is just about disruption. It's like, if you think about back to when Manchester City came in, they disrupted in various ways. So Manchester City were barely a top-half team when they came in. What they did is they went and bought Newcastle players, they bought West Ham players, they bought Aston Villa players, and then they moved on to Arsenal and they attacked Arsenal. So sort of what Saudi Arabia are doing here is they're going after the biggest thing they can try and get out of a European club and disrupt the whole thing, because once it almost feels like if they were to get Salah, they'd be able to almost present it to everybody. So it feels like the first step on the other thing, and yeah, we'll see. It feels like Liverpool don't want to sell him, which is fine with me. They'd probably just become a number where I think everyone would go, do you know what, maybe this isn't the worst idea. How could you do until Christmas without him? You can probably do reasonably all right, and you'd have to be very aggressive in January, and that's probably not the best time to do it. There's a very thin line between we have to take the money and taking the money being writing the season off, and I'm not really into writing the season off personally, because I think we've got chances of doing things anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what they'll be hopefully telling the player as well, Josh, is that, you know, we're look at the players we've got in, we're going to try and push, we need you as part of it. I don't know how much his head's been turned. I mean, he seems a fairly level-headed sort of guy, whatever, in that, you know, if he is tempted, if he ends up staying, like, I'm sure, you know, he's not going to drop in terms of effort or anything like that. But, you know, I think, you know, hopefully we'll be able to persuade him, listen, you know, even if you do want to go, you know, one more year, give it everything you've got, seeing how high you can climb up that goal scorer list and stuff like that, and then assess it, because although Phil says, like, it surely gets to the point where, you know, even Liverpool can't necessarily turn it down, maybe, you know, there's a number out there that is that, but I just think they're not going anywhere. I think they want Salah, and I think any number that they come to me just shows how desperate they are to get him, and if I was Mike Gordon, who apparently he's been having lovely chats with them. I wonder who puts that out, who says it's amicable, and do they check both sides? They're like, hiya Mike, they said it was an amicable chat, would you? Is that the word you did use to describe it? Or did you, I mean, it takes two to amicable, is what I would say, Phil.
I thought the fact that it was a verbal offer was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Imagine daft call, like what that would go, like 100 million? No.
Do you reckon the number comes up and they're like, don't recognise that country code?
I'm not in, mate. But anyway, whatever they're offering, verbally and amicably or otherwise, I just think they'll be back. So I don't think, even if it goes to like 200 million.
Taking the first one would have been mad.
No, that would have been. But also, I'd be thinking, I'm sure they'll offer that in January. Because he's still Mo Salah.
For me, it has to be a no, like regardless of how much that they offer. It's similar to me to Brighton earlier in the year when they got offered like 76 or something for Casado, and they were like, no matter how high you go, we are not selling them now because it doesn't benefit us in any way. Yeah. And I think Liverpool at the minute I think it's curious that they're doing it on deadline day, literally trying to make us suffer if we do lose them, because we've got like 6 months without them then. But for me, you just can't go. But we've got like obviously firepower in the squad, players who are going to deliver goals and assists and things like that. But for me, the crucial thing is we don't have a left footer. And I think if you put a right footer over there, Liverpool have already got quite an imbalanced squad. If you've got a team of right footers as well, and a top heavy team, you're going to be really messy. And I think like if you look at Liverpool's attack, everyone's right footed except Harvey Elliott, literally everybody. So that for me, the replacement for Salah has to be a left footed lad. Getting that immediately narrows the pool of players you can get and stuff. So he's such a difficult player to replace that even trying to get a replacement in January would be hard enough. I think you need a full summer, you need a full year to plan for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has to be knocked back at all costs, even if it starts getting silly. Obviously, there will be a point though where you probably start questioning it. You know, I don't know how high that figure is, like, but there will be a point where you start thinking this is nuts. You know what I mean? But I mean, I hope nothing happens, but it's a difficult one to predict, knowing the money that's coming out of it.
The January thing's interesting though, because by all accounts they want him for the Club World Cup in December.
Right.
So
they might say...
Does it get into a position where if it might get the 7th September, the Saudi window's closed, and all of a sudden they're not actually interested anymore?
So it might be 300 million now or 200 in January, in which case... That's
it might not even be 200 million in January, they might be like, well...
I'm just saying numbers.
The worst. January might get January and like, well, 80 million. And then you might have...
There's a year and a half left.
Yeah, you might have... But you might have, and you know, I don't want this on, but if Liverpool don't do particularly well by January and Mohamed Salah's unhappy, 80 million suddenly becomes like, well, he doesn't want to be here. And ultimately, we're not doing well with him. And it becomes a point where you're like, well, we've sort of boxed ourselves into a hole here. So that's why I don't want to sell him. The only way I would even consider it is if he actively wanted to, and by that I effectively mean doing a match Nunes and going, I'm not coming to training for 4 days.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would even think about it. Because it becomes a point where you would have a player who effectively is disruptive. Like, and everyone can say there's a contract, but there's no clause in someone's contract that says you've got to press the defender at the right time or make the right pass instead of having a shot because you want to score a goal. Like, it's quite difficult to sort of go, well, we've got a contract, you stay, and if he wants to go, you've got to sort of, that's when your problem comes, I think. But if he's not signalled any intention to leave, tell him to go away, because we've almost got to stand up to their desire to destruct, I think.
I think, sorry, just from Liverpool's point of view as well, I think there's been too many sort of things that have gone against the plans that they had, 6, 7, 8 plus months ago. And I think one more thing that isn't sort of planned for would just be a step too far. You know, we talk about the midfielders that left, they didn't plan for that necessarily, did they? You know, the whole sporting director thing, there's been a lot of sort of uncertainty and a lot of things that they've had to sort of react to. And I feel like now is the time that the manager especially, and I think those players as well, just need certainty. So I think, you know, any sort of, even if they do come with crazy money, I think it just sends a little bit of a strange message. And I don't know, I also, part of me thinks, will Saudi go that high?
Yeah, I agree. That's sort of what I was talking about, in terms of the other players though, because if he's being a pain in the arse around the training ground, the players would eventually want rid of him. I'm not saying he is or anything like that, but there becomes a point where a player can get that disruptive that you just have to go sound.
Let's
really hope that's not happening.
I can't see him.
No, I can't either. I can't either. I'm talking really generally. To be fair, I'm not talking about Mohamed Salah specifically.
Yeah.
I think he'll stay. But we've got one new lad coming in anyway, any minute, Gravenberch. You're a bit of a Gravenberch fridge, actually, aren't you?
Fridge? Yeah. What do you mean?
I mean, you like other midfielders by your hands.
No.
You're an Amazon man, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I do feel like a bit of a downer though when I talk about him, because I'm not like
another midfielder by your nans.
I'm getting off.
By your nans.
No, I think he's a great addition, I really do. As an isolated player to add to the squad, you know, taking a chance on him for like 35 million, something like that, I think is sound. He could become really, really good. Got a very high ceiling, and I think if we were doing this deal 12 months ago, we'd all be a lot more excited by it because of what he'd done at Ajax and that. But my only doubt with him, and I just feel the need to keep saying it, as like that misery in the corner, is if you look at the makeup of the squad, and Klopp said to Endo on his first day, mate, the squad's very offensive.
Yeah.
And then you go and sign Gravenberch, who is a bit of like a He's a bit like a Curtis Jones 2 years ago, really, in terms of the profile that he offers. A bit like an Eze or someone like that, you know. And if you're adding that to what we've already got, it just feels very like goals and Klopp is almost. The defensive side of the game's almost a bit of an afterthought. You know, 16 million for Endo Sound, and then 70 million for Soboslai, 40 million for McAllister. And it feels a bit like we could be a bit mental this season, which is an entertaining thing. Like, but winning a league title is a bit of a question mark there, I think.
I think there's a thing where I think there's got to be a level of converting him, because I think when you look at him, like, if you think let's say Jordan Henderson as an example. Jordan Henderson effectively played number 6 150, 200 times for Liverpool probably. Would you say something like that? When he played, he was playing right wing, basically. Jordan Henderson's first season, he played right mid in a 4-4-2. He wasn't the player he went on to be, and it's like I just look at him, and you look at sort of profile him on like FB Ref and stuff like that, and he just looks like he has the capability under the right coach to move back. Like, you look at the managers he's had. He's had Nagelsmann, Ten Hag and Tuchel. He's basically had lunatics. Yeah. Lunatics who must do your head in, and now he's going to come in and get Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp just put his arm around him and go, we'll sort you out.
He's a bit of a lunatic.
He is, but he's not an intense lunatic, I don't think. Like, I think those three, they come across as mad and intense, and the intense, like, Klopp seems quite a laid-back lunatic.
Yeah, day to day. Yeah.
He's just like they'll get in your face and tell you your boots aren't tied properly or something, or shave your sideburns or something like that.
Wear more gilets.
Yeah, and the whole thing at Bayern, it feels quite unfair on him, the whole situation, because we've spoken to people, you know, who watched him closely over there, and there was talks about how good he looked early on coming in. Even when he did play for them, he looked, you know, quite good in those moments, but he never got that run. And, you know, he probably thought when he made the move to Bayern, you know, Bayern have always been that stable club, haven't they, in terms of how they run, the ideas and the managers and things like that. But over the last 12 months, they've been quite all over the place with managers.
You also kind of expected them to change, man. He kind of expected to go on last summer and expected to be having Thomas Tuchel by Christmas.
I think it's insistent as well, the two fellas who got him in and got sacked at the end of last season.
That's it, right?
You know? So it's basically an indicator of, like, you know, he's a good player, yes, sound, but we didn't really need him. Yeah. So to that, you know, usually getting.
And with the moulding, you know, he's 6'3", which I sometimes forget, which is really good, because it's something we've been calling for in this midfield. You know, there's people talking about how he's, you know, good on the ball, but, you know, not just in terms of going forward, but he's safe, knows when to play, when to move.
65% of his aerial duels in Holland one season.
Well, there we go. So that's, these are all the little elements that, you know, I'm sure Jurgen and the rest have seen and thought, well, we can use that to turn him into, you know, not necessarily a traditional DM, but something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's loads more to come from him. I think it'd be really interesting to see how he's used in the short term and maybe the medium long term. I reckon by the end of the season, even Josh is going to be warming towards it, but real certainty. So don't forget to say at the start, huge thanks to Nova Scotia for letting us use the venue again. Fantastic space just downstairs from our office as well, which is handy. And yeah, thanks a lot to Erdinger, of course, for partnering with us. Hope you've enjoyed that. That has been the Friday night. Back next week, free every week. Tell your mates, it's Boss, up the Reds.